We live in a world where proven facts, verifiable data, and actual truths are freely and widely available. So why are so many self-confident ignoramuses believed? Why are thoughtful experts so often dismissed? And why do irrelevant details like someone's wealth, their Facebook photo, or simply how confident or dominant they appear influence whether or not we trust what they're saying? Even when their ideas are questionable, their claims factually inaccurate, or sometimes just blatantly not true. These days, it seems that looking and sounding right is more valuable than being right. When a messenger delivers a message, something intriguing happens. They become connected to the content of that message in an audience's mind. And this association can have a dramatic effect on an audience's thinking and attitudes, because they'll frequently fail to separate the idea being communicated from the person conveying it. It's a fact that very often in our modern day world, the messenger is the message.
For the last 2 years, Steve and I have been investigating over 6 decades of research to identify the messenger traits that most influence who people listen to, believe, and follow. Our research suggests that there are 2 broad categories of messenger: hard and soft. Hard messengers wield influence because they're perceived to possess superior status over their audience. Soft messengers, in contrast, carry sway because they're seen to have a connectedness with their audience. Within these broad categories lie 4 hard-related and 4 soft-related traits, which each reliably influence whether or not a messenger will be listened to.
The 4 hard messenger effects are social economic position, competence, dominance, and attractiveness. Social economic position communicates the kind of lifestyle a person enjoys, the social circles they inhabit, the resources they have access to. Celebrities, arguably, are the most obvious high-status messengers because they receive more attention than anyone else. Consequently, they wield great influence. But this isn't always a good thing. In 2018, health officials in China scrambled to contain a rumor regarding the effectiveness of the influenza vaccine after a famous pop star claimed on WhatsApp, without evidence and contrary to expert opinion, that 90% of people who receive the vaccine catch the virus.
The second hard trait is competence. Audiences listen to messengers perceived to have competence because they're thought to possess the experience, skills, and knowledge that can help people to achieve their goals. The cues we use to decide whether someone possesses competence are as numerous as they are surprising. Clothes, titles, competence even has a face. And if you've ever wondered why companies position clocks in their reception areas, displaying the time in different cities, it's mostly so that they can signal to visitors their global reach, which in turn elevates their perceived competence and status.
Dominance is the third hard effect. Dominant messengers impose on their audiences, often in self-interested ways and at the expense of others. Messengers who possess dominant personalities are combative rather than cooperative. So, why do people listen to them? Studies show that our responses to dominant messengers are so deeply embedded they can be recognized by children as young as 10 months old. From an astonishingly early age, an expectation resides in all of us that to the victor goes the spoils. No surprise then that dominant messengers are often effective ones, but they're not without their limits. Dominant messengers typically thrive when conflict, competition, uncertainty are rife. But in calmer, surer times, the opposite is generally true.
The final hard effect is attractiveness. One study looked at the effect of a salesperson's attractiveness on their ability to successfully sell prescription drugs to physicians. Trained doctors tend to deny their vulnerability to succumbing to an attractive salesperson, but the data tells a different story. The results showed how the attractiveness of the salesperson was related to the amount of drug the doctor prescribed.
In addition to the 4 hard messenger traits which elevate a messenger's perceived status, our research has found 4 soft traits that increase a messenger's connectedness with their audience. They are warmth, vulnerability, trustworthiness, and charisma.
Warm messengers care about their audience's welfare and want to cooperate rather than compete with them. They don't seek to demonstrate their status, but rather their benevolence. People do this every day by using warm language to help smooth their social interactions. No one closes a conversation with Siri or Alexa with, "You take care now," but we uniformly signal our warmth and friendliness to people using polite words and phrases. This can have a big impact. One study found dominant-sounding doctors were more than twice as likely to be sued for malpractice than an equally competent group of doctors who used a warmer tone of voice with their patients.
The second soft messenger effect is vulnerability. Our impulse to help others, or at least not make things worse, is an automatic emotional response formed early in life. That's why messengers who signal their vulnerability will often be listened to more than those that remain closed off. Defense attorneys frequently present their clients as vulnerable individuals who suffered a lot in life to get the judge and jury on side. Contestants in talent shows often find themselves in an advantage if they possess a vulnerability or a backstory. Studies found that the more money people were offered, the more willing they were to allow someone to cut in front of them in the line. Now, that's hardly a surprise. The real surprise was that rarely did people take the money. The money was a sign of vulnerability. Hey, if you're willing to pay $100 to cut in front of me in the line, you really must be desperate.
Soft messenger effect 3 is trustworthiness. Trust is crucial to any human relationship. Without it, it's hard to have successful romantic relationships, productive workplace collaborations, or prosperous economic exchanges. There are two broad forms of trust: competence-based trust, which is confidence in a messenger's capabilities, and integrity-based trust, which is our belief that a messenger will uphold good moral standards, even if a temptation to violate them arises. But research has also shown that by following certain group norms, a messenger can earn group credits from their audience that can help cover the costs of future mistakes or even wrongdoing that they may engage in. This goes some way to explaining how some messengers can deceive and lie to audiences and yet still maintain their position and loyalty.
The final soft messenger effect is charisma, which has been defined as a compelling attractiveness or charm that inspires devotion in others. But how do messengers compel audiences and evoke devotion? One important element is an ability to articulate a collective identity and vision. Another is what psychologists call surgency. To have high surgency is to outwardly express greater levels of energy, enthusiasm, and positivity through, amongst other things, their body language. For example, studies find the most successful TED Talks are typically made by presenters who use about twice as many hand gestures as their less successful peers. But the lesson here is not to perfect your ninja hand gestures, but instead to recognize how and when each of these hard and soft messenger traits influence who we are likely to listen to.
Our book Messengers: Who We Listen To, Who We Don't and Why will help you to do exactly that. We examine in detail each of these hard and soft messenger traits. We look at the interplay between the different effects and distinguish between those situations where a hard, status-driven messenger is likely to be preferred, and those where a soft, connectedness-driven messenger will emerge victorious. We also discuss the broader political and societal impacts of these messenger effects, and how they shape the values we hold, the politics we follow, which groups we join and which ones we reject, who we choose to believe and who we don't.
Recognizing the traits of a society's messengers is crucial because they fundamentally influence not just who we listen to and what we believe, but ultimately who we become.